This is now the first meeting of participants from the East and West Kuplar, which are the regions in our case. And here is our table, actually two tables, for the audience to better to follow up what is the result of the debate participants are going to do. So I asked Dinara to be the secretary of the meeting. Okay, so actually what am I doing here, because the negotiators should be here, so please come and make the meeting.
Tanto bellissimo da parusciare nato che stai
Hello to everyone and welcome to this kick-off meeting, a proposal for a new European project, cross-border project in the social sector regarding the two neighboring regions, the West Gular in Eurolandia and the East Gular in Eastania. We have here two representatives from each country, Mr. Kire, I am Andreas, Joanna, and you can change your name.
Maya.
Maya, there we go. So now we will present, I believe that's the proper word, our ideas for this cross-border project. So the general idea is to have, to establish a connection and provide, how do we call it, the exchange of experience between the two regions in the form of, that is in the field of social work and in the field of helping disabled people. We will be talking about physical disability, and we will see if we can arrange get an agreement on after presenting our ideas. Kind of a tutoring, exchange their knowledge and.
Sorry, but I think that the main idea is to create a campus, a summer campus for disability children, and this campus needs some things to be done before the camp starts. So we have the tutoring part before the campus, and the main idea, which is summer campus for disability, for people with disability.
Thank you. I needed that. So basically, as my colleague just said, we will establish this kind of a campus with the idea of having professional tutors exchanging experience and what we call them society members, which meaning mostly families who have disabled children in a way or another. And since we're from two different countries with a different development status, it will be interesting to see how different families from different regions cope with the problem of either infrastructure or financial statuses and so on. So our general idea is to organize a 4-week tutoring course in a way that we'll have, it's 3 weeks, yes. A 3-week tutoring course in which we'll have first the social tutoring part, which will last for 2 weeks. Because then, at that time, in this period of time, we'll have families get together, and for 2 weeks they will exchange knowledges and know-hows on how to cope with different problems which physical disabled children might have. Their knowledge based on the possibilities of their own regions and the people for this campus period. And they will
from Eastania, where they can come close to each other and they can communicate in this 2-week project. And with them are coming one parent for every child. Okay, just to for this 2-week campus, we need expert knowledge. So everyone who works with those children has to know something about their physical disability. So we are have to make a 2-week
Yes.
Yeah, a 2-week tutoring campus where society people, like ordinary people, can come. Maybe their parents or whoever wants can come and learn how to work, to be prepared to work with the person with a disability. And then in the second week arrive the experts, where they experts from Eastania and experts from Eurolandia, where they can exchange their knowledge just to improve this. They're working with
countries, and I believe that the objectives that the colleagues presented before are more or less the same, but we did imagine the structure a little bit differently. First, our main objective, we defined it as the following. So by organizing activities for children from the 2 border regions, we would be facilitating their social integration and enhancing their physical abilities while strengthening civil society, a common civil society formed from the 2 regions, by including volunteers from both of these regions, thereby strengthening the cooperation between them. About the premises, the physical location, our municipality would be willing to let us use a building that they have in their possession, which we would then also renovate with a part of the money at our disposal. Next, the staff. Obviously, our partners in Eurolandia have better developed human resources. So for this establishment, and the rest of the money would be, of course, used for the activities of the teachers and rehabilitators, while also together, obviously.
Okay. First of all, we need a project manager that he will come from our country, maybe because we might be the little country. So this project manager will have 2 assistants, one from each country, and they will need some money to prepare the campus and the whole tutoring issue. We might need 50,000 euros for 1 year, just for the project manager, the assistants and everything they might need. What's that? In a good way, and we might need about 30,000 euros for this conference, monitoring conferences. 30,000. Hotels, their meals, their transportation, and everything they need just to cover their expenses. So the whole budget is about 110, I think.
First of all, I have to assume that the European Union will be really satisfied with us because we left from 30,000 to 50,000 euros. So we're not going to spend so much. Or we can use them for other expenses, right? When we negotiate about the budget. The only you can follow this legible expenses line because we're going. Yeah, it will be easier for you also. Okay, considering the fact that we come from East Bucla and our average monthly wage is 1,000 euros, we decided to employ 2 people that will permanently work as a staff member in the facilities, right? And they will get 2,000 euros per month. So we decided that this project will last for 12 months. So that means how much does it mean? 24,000 exactly, 24,000 euros. Yeah. For the daily allowances, we said that daily allowances will be included in the salaries of the project staff, so that's 24,000 for the first and the second paragraph. For whatever travel expenses of the project staff, we decided to employ the employees since they're coming closely from the region. We thought that is going to take from 600 to 1,200 euros. We're still discussing about the means of transportation. It depends whether we have the infrastructure to get this. So the target groups. We decided to rent a van. Okay.
Yes, it's 150,000.
We can use our own voice. And now, I believe our experts, experienced AEBR people have maybe a few questions or remarks. So who would like to start?
Ladies first.
First of all, is renovation allowed to renovate? Is it allowed to do renovation to a building? Because I think that's an investment.
No, it's mentioned in the project that we have to participate with 10%, right? As I can remember. So the thing was, our municipality is ready to offer a building, which is already in a good shape. Renovation needs equipment, just the equipment. That's the renovation part, or maybe make some small changes.
Okay, thank you. Just to be brief, I have one more question. Is this building functional for those who live far away from that? If a kid with a disability lives for about 200 or 300 kilometers away from where the building is, how are they going to come there? And how are they going to attend after-school facilities? Because you mentioned a van that's going to collect those children, but how, if they live about 3 or 4 hours away, they can't attend those courses, maybe?
Just guess, just guess.
Yeah. Okay.
How big is your building?
Yeah, the building is left to the imagination. You can make it as you want. Also, the number is left to the imagination. You can't do it because you want.
Regarding the contents, I don't have any remark because this is an exercise. So, and I can imagine that you are not experts on working with handicapped people, disabled, etc. There are some things. In general, anyway, it's quite okay. Because this is more or less the way to address, to have a summer camp, to have first contact between the children, professionals, the families. This is very well. This is the way to do it. You can create a cross-border environment for fruitful things. And sometimes even some business possibilities can come because maybe the parents will talk each other and who knows. So yeah, okay, that's perfect. Regarding the procedures, I have a couple of remarks. First of all, we should have known who is each of you. You have to make an exercise to see what are you representing. Are you representing the public sector, or are you representing the private sector, or both, or the school, whatever. That's just, of course, that if this were a real exercise, this would not be a problem because you would have given to us maybe a visiting card or whatever. But it's important when you are, not only when you are presenting the idea to the public, but even when you are making the first meeting with your future counterpart on the other side. The first you have to do is to give a visiting card and explain, I'm coming from here, there. And then you use this also to explain the background. Why have you chosen this project? Maybe because there is a problem that you want to solve, or maybe because there is a problem for communication between the two countries, then you are using this, which is a very good idea, etc. It's a recommendation. But it's very important to presentation because the first image you give, this is probably the key of the success of the, not of the project, but of the relationship, because you are constructing cross-border relations across the world. So, okay, as responsible of a structure, I would have been trying to get some ways to get some money for my organization, but this is something that we can never put in the papers, and of course we cannot explain it. But it's quite accurate. Anyway, yeah. There are one general question: why two different budgets? This is very important that when you are making a cross-border project, you need to have one budget.
Things with especially the European Union and Commission wants to see like dissemination and audit, and they are not at this western part, or vice versa. I don't. Yes, the non-EU part takes care of this, and it can be so if it's agreed, but I didn't hear an agreement. So you just take this responsibility and actually the question is, are you doing this also on behalf of the West side?
These are all proposals, so we need to have a consensus at the very end. These are just, we meet the first time and say, okay, we were doing this, you were doing that, and after some time, okay, we can pull this and this, and we can throw some things out.
Okay,
That's it.
I would like to have heard of dissemination, what media you are using, because first actually you choose the way you are making the dissemination, and then you can plan the budget. Now you are like working vice versa. You first take someone money and then think what are we going to do with this money. But I agree with Martin that the actions you have planned there, they are actually surprisingly good, considering that you are not experts on this topic. So they are really good activities. There are quite many, so I believe during the next meeting you cut off.
In a place, and then probably what you have to do is to make better roads, very expensive. Or probably you have to try to have better vehicles, the buses, they should be better. Maybe this is easier to do. But probably the best of all is to have a very good training of the drivers. Not only to drive better, but even to take care of the machines. So this is cheap and provides a lot of benefits. And the way to say is, the problem we want to address is there are a lot of accidents, and the hypothesis is there are 20% less accidents and people injured in the. That this is very important in every project, especially for European offices where they are receiving, I don't know, thousands of projects. Then they go first of all to the problem, and then the definition of the main result do you want. If this match, they keep on reading, otherwise they will go to the next project. Then they will send it for the management, they will see dissemination, very important, they will see if the budget match with the activities, all this stuff. But first of all, the most important is one problem which can be defined very easily, and the solution or the result you want to achieve. And then it has to be kept even when the funding is over. Otherwise, this is a disaster. The reality is this and that. That's what we did just in the last years. Now we have to define the impact on the population and the sustainability of the measures. It's very difficult. To give you some frame, which is very interesting. But also, I wanted to stress the question of impact and sustainability. That sounds European jargon, but it's, at the end it's very, very important. Otherwise, we are spending a lot of money that we give some good results for 1 year for those people, but then afterwards the problem is not only that the project is not sustainable, it's the amount of frustration that is developed amongst all these stakeholders. But this is not a remark to you, but to all of us. Yes.
Just commenting previous that I could see these elements in your plans. You had this tutoring, training the tutors, so,
yes.
So the number of trained tutors is already impact. They are able to work after the project. And also renovating the premises for this kind of events. So it's 400,000, a little bit over 400,000 grant.
I could get 20% for the association. I think we could do it.
Yeah. So if you want to implement this budget, you have to put a lot of own money there. So
20%.
Probably you will have to reduce activities and check your budget.
Yeah.
But if we reach to one conclusion, to one project, budget will be within 4.
Okay.
Good.
Yes.